So a few weeks back, I released the games launcher for the NVIDIA and AMD, which is the Steam Deck type thing where you shift Control S and it launches on Omarchy and it launches a deck version. And I said in there that it doesn't work on Intel, but I've made an Intel version. So I'm going to release the Intel version. I've had another play with it, so there'll be a link in the bottom of the video in the description to download the Intel version of the games launcher. But I thought Intel needs a moment of its own here. So, I mean, I got this thing. There we are. Spartan Guardian 12 gig B580 card. And one of the reasons I picked it up is there was an interview with Linus Torvald on Linus Tech Tips, and they were building him a machine, and he chose the B580 to go into his machine that they were building for. And I always thought this was like a weird thing. And it is interesting that you've had NVIDIA and AMD out there for years, like dominating that market, and Intel have slowly crept in. And Intel have just released their Panther Lake chips, and they are beginning to really become a bit of a player with the graphics. And also they're offering up Intel support for Linux further down the line. But the big thing about these cards is they are cheap. They're really budget conscious. It's only 12 gigs. It's not like the 16 gig 5060s or the 9060 XTs, but it's 12 gigs. So it's a sort of a sweet spot in the middle there. However, the compatibility is not perfect. And as I discovered when I was writing the game script, this is why it was separated off, because it was his own epic. That basically the Intel drivers aren't far enough ahead. They're getting there. There's no native XESS support, which is their version of DLSS or FSR. Well, not FSR, I mean DLSS, because it just doesn't exist. So what you do is when you select XESS on a game, which is their multi-frame gen thing, whatever it is, upscaling, you don't actually get it. You get what's like the default fallback version. So you're actually better using FSR than you are using XESS on Linux, because you're not getting it, and there's no way around it. Even Proton Catchy Proton has gives you the latest version of the DLL, which goes in, which is great, but you're still not getting the use of the cores. I mean, there are other ways around this, like things like Optiscaler and all that, but realistically, FSR is your best place, because FSR is platform agnostic, so you can use that. So it's got a few issues, but it's there. And if you were looking, I mean, now RAM prices, I looked at 32 gigs of RAM for a new machine I'm going to build my son, and it's nearly £569, which is more expensive than a PlayStation. So it was like, there's a serious issue now with pricing of stuff. So if you're looking for, you're looking for a cheap, affordable graphics card that can work, it's a great card. And can you play games with Linux? Yeah, you can. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to go through the install of the GameScript launcher. Now, I may need to jump ahead because there's a choice in there you have to make about what you want to do. So I'm going to go and install it on a clean installation of Omarchy, and then we'll reboot, we'll come back, and then I'll just dive into Arc Raiders and just show you it playing, and we'll look at the settings. I won't do a benchmark, we'll just do a quick whiz through an Arc Raiders level. It's just easier to do. And I'll just talk about some other bits as we go along. So there you go, another massive pre-ramble out of the way. And with that said, let's dive in. All right, so here we are in Omarchy, and the desktop theme I have is called Arc Blueberry. We're on a theme here, so I thought I'd stick with it. Anyway, so what do we need to do? We need to open up a terminal, and we need to open up your downloads folder. You'd have downloaded the file. I may rename it because it's Arc Games Install version 2. I may rename it, but it'll be that. So then we just drag it over. I've already done, actually, let me do it properly just in case anybody misses it. Let's do it properly, even though it's done. CHMOD plus X, and then just drag that over there. And now it's ready to run. But very first, just to show you what the machine is, let's do fast fetch. Okay, so this shows you this is a 13th gen Intel i7. It's got an Intel Arc B580 in it. B580. It's on a 4K display, and we are on 3.3.3 master stable Omarchy. And that's all we need to do. So now we should run it. So all I need to do is just drag that over there and run. So first of all, system update. And this is the part. Now, the Linux driver support is slightly behind in the Mesa sort of driver thing, which you normally download for AMD. So you've got two choices here. If you choose 2, which is a stable one, certain games might not work at all. So it's a bit of a gamble, but they're both a gamble, but one's less of a gamble than the other. So if you choose 1, it will download and compile the latest Mesa Git. Now this can take 20 minutes. So I'm going to put 1 on there, and then it will start to pull all this down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just stop this, and I'm not going to make you sit through all this, but we'll come back when we've got some more decisions to make. So I'll just stop this and we'll start again when it comes back. Okay, and we're back. That took 20 minutes to download and compile it. I want to get quite fast authentication. You'll eventually get to this screen, which is basically install missing package requirements. So yes. So, and there is a couple of things to know about that. Basically, it's like doesn't update. It's not, you have to go in, rerun the script every month, and then it will recompile the whole thing, and you'll get the latest updates. You can just stick. So now we're going to put on, now I've added something on this one. I've got Proton G custom, and I've also added Proton Catchy SLR. Now, why have I added that? Because basically the Proton Catchy can access the latest version of XESS DLL. So you're still not getting the proper version of XESS, but you're getting the DLL, the fallback, a newer version of the fallback. That makes sense. Anyway, but as I said, probably FSR is the way to go. So anyway, so now it's going to put on, what do we got there? We've got Proton G and the Catchy Proton as well. So you can select these inside the Steam Deck, the Steam window. But yeah, so you should recompile the Git, the Mesa Git, once a month maybe. It takes an epic, but you just let it run and do its thing. Now, you can't really, to uninstall it's a bit of a tricky one. So going into this, know that it's an epic to uninstall it, or you can just play with the normal Mesa Git and the Mesa setup and it's fine. So, you know, I've written an uninstall script for the rest of it, but not for the Git part of it. But I mean, I'm sure if you get a bit of Claude going on, you can work out how to uninstall it, because the thing is, it's tied to Steam. So you need to get rid of Steam and all the dependencies before you can get it off. But, you know, it is like a beta, but it depends on what you do. If you're playing games and just doing code and stuff like that, then it won't really affect you. But I mean, it could throw a wobbly on if you're doing some graphics work or something like that, I suppose. It's up to you. So now we'll be going. This is why this is quite big. And so this is why I wanted to keep it separate from the other installer, because debugging this thing was interesting. Because, there we go, Proton Catchy. Yeah, and there is a couple of gotchas, but not too bad. But I think everything works. There's one game which just doesn't work. Well, it does, but it's just not playable. And that's Doom Dark Ages and the Doom before it. Both of those, you can't play them reasonably. They just won't play. You can see them, they look great, but they run at like 10 frames per second. But everything else I've gone, most stuff plays. I've done Homeworld, Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, whatever it's called, Night Rain, that one. Add to video group, yes. Install missing packages, yes. Password performance, yes. Shader cache, yes. Yes. Yeah. Chimera backend, yeah. That comes in. Quite a big download. But, I mean, you know, if you've got a B580, I mean, I've not tested this on an A card, so I need to reboot. So if I've not tested this on an A card, but I'm sure you'll get, it should work. Yeah, so basically we're doing a reboot now and come back, and then I've got to set up Steam like normal. And then you should be able to play. And then we'll go through how to use it, how to use the interface. Because there is a gotcha with this, a big one. And it may not affect a lot of people, but it affects me and you need to know what you're doing to come back from it. Otherwise, you need to basically do a clean installation, or just not clean installation. You need to get rid of Steam and everything like that again and start the whole thing over again. I'll explain it when we get there. Here we are. So Steam. It goes now. Hopefully, in a minute. There we go. Downloading the bits it needs. Now it doesn't normally do that. It's something to do with the Mesa Git thing, probably. Who knows? I was going to wait for that to download and update. Doing it. Normally you don't see this. If anybody's watched my other videos on AMD and it, you just don't see this part. When you launch Steam, it doesn't do that. Now, ooh, it's doing its thing. There we go. Interesting. It doesn't do that normally. Let's log in. It's probably my 1000th login of Steam in the past 6 months. Just a couple of things to do, then we'll launch it. Here we go. Now, I've never tested games playing them directly in Wayland on the desktop. I'd started ages back when I started with Omarchy. I tried that and things just wouldn't work. So I sort of ended up building this entire thing just so I could play games on here and they would work when I wanted them to. So let's go to downloads. And that's that. And then shut that down. And then we'll launch it. So Super Shift S. Now this version isn't tested on laptops at all. I don't even know how you do that because there's no there are Panther Lake laptops out there, but you don't. I mean, they've got the what's it, IB390, and so there's no laptop version of this. I mean, if you're welcome to play with it on a laptop, see if you can get it to work on an Intel laptop that's got a Panther Lake one. If I can get my hands on a Panther Lake laptop for a couple of days, I'll make it work. But I mean, I can't test it, so very much desktop only. Anyway, so we're in Steam. Now, here are the gotchas for you. In here, you notice my screen's washed out. I think I've said this before. My monitor pretends to be HDR. It isn't. And if you switch off HDR in here, it will basically, the next time you reboot or halfway through a game, it just black screens and you cannot get it back. You have to go into the VDF file in Steam and reset it to 1 to make it so it pretends to be HDR. So do not touch the HDR thing. I mean, if you do it, if I flick that off, it will basically black screen. And it's nothing to do with my setup. It's a problem with the drivers with Intel Mesa Git thing. Anyway, so I'm going to just change the resolution to, I don't want that. I'm going to change the resolution to, I mean, it's better than NVIDIA. You can at least choose 4K. I mean, you can't play the game at 4K. Keep settings, and then I'm going to lock my games at 1440 as well. Okay, so now it's all like this, but what you can do, you can change the HDR brightness a bit, make it less washed out. You could potentially fiddle with the colors. Sorry about that, phone call. Fiddle with the colors, adjust display colors to make it a bit brighter. Anyway, I mean, there's lots you can do with it. So I'll be right back. I've got to take that phone call and then I'll be right back. So, all right, so we're all set up with a display. So let's double check that. Display. Yeah, but as I was saying, the color thing's a tricky one. You can have to change it. I mean, if like me, I'm stuck in HDR and it doesn't look great. Anyway, so let's just set up the other bit. So let's go over here and go into Advanced View, put up Performance Overlay, switch off Disable Frame Limit so you can go as fast as you can. And then that's that. So, and the controls, it's Control 1 and 2 for these side menus. So come out of that. And now let's just jump into Arc Radius. Now, click on that. I'm going to select Properties. And as you saw, I put Proton GE on there. So I've got Proton GE and Proton Catchy all ready to pick. But I'm going to go with, because it makes no odds, realistically, with XESS, I'm just going to use Proton GE. Let's just jump in. Now, the first time up, this will take a little bit of time to load. But yeah, I mean, I've not tried OptiScaler. That's another way of doing up-resing. And apparently that works better. But I mean, Arc Radius should play on a medium setting. I mean, it's not a 5060 or a 9060 XT. So on both those cards, I get high and near cinematic with frame gen and everything running. But we can't really use frame gen. There's no frame gen. So, I mean, it's sort of like, you know, we're limited to FSR. Very much like the Steam Deck, the new Steam machine that's coming out, it's going to be limited to FSR. The colours don't look too bad. They are a bit washed out though. It's the monitor. The monitor's 200, 300 nits, which isn't HDR, but it displays on its EDID code that it is, and it isn't. So this freezes up. And then you can get in and we can jump straight into the settings and see what it's come up with. But I mean, this is not anything to do with the Arc card. This takes a while to get into it anyway. Agree. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I've been playing this far too much. I've been working, writing codes. Oh, network timeout, retry. That's not me. It's not the machine. Obviously the servers are overloaded. It's very popular. I've been playing this far too much. I've been playing this far too much. It's a very, very good game. It's not often you get. I remember, I'm so old. I remember when Counter-Strike first came out. That was brilliant online play. You know, that was really good fun to play that online. And this is sort of got that vibe. I know there's been tons of others. So let's just go into play and let's just do Buried City. What's that one? Lush Blooms. Okay, Nature Loot. Confirm. And we're going to go with a free loadout if we can. Because I haven't got audio on this, so I'm not going to be able to hear very much. But up the top there, escape. Let's go to settings. What have we got? Graphics. We'll come to that when I get in. When we go into the game, we'll go back into the graphics settings and change it. But you can see it's playing. It's at 60 FPS. Okay, and we're in. Before we run off, let's just escape settings and let's look at graphics. So we've got, it says XRS, ESS, whatever it is here, but let's have a look what we've got frame rate wise. Not bad. I've got 80, 90 frames. I don't really need to do anything here. Let's just have a look at that. Settings, graphics, and we're on medium and dynamic low. It says it's got it set, but I don't think that's actually. Let's just try FSR. Will it do FSR3? It won't do FSR3. Anyway, let's put it back on. It was fine on it. XCSS, but you can go on FSR. So let's just do it. You can see it's like pretty zippy. I'm on 1440p map. I'm miles away. Where are we going to go? Let's go down to that one. See if I can make it out. I've got no sound. So, whoa, here we go. Yeah, 80 frames per second on medium. So that's not, let's get rid of that. So that's pretty good. Now, the problem is I won't be able to hear any arc coming, so that could be hugely problematic for me. Blast components, that's unexpected. Let's get down to that house. I've got one of the... I've got a fuse grenade and a barricade kit. Great. That's all we need. But you can see, I mean, this is perfectly playable. Obviously, it's something, not something for 4K. I'm going to get totally caught out here in a minute, aren't I? Light bulb, take that. I don't need those. And then let's just rumble down to the 4. There's another guy over there. Now, I've been playing this nicely for ages, so I normally end up in like... It's great this. They've done aggression-based lobbies, which is fantastic. So all the idiots that go around and shoot each other, take those, they end up in the same place. And all the people like me that just want to play against the environment, PvE, end up normally... What have we got there? I'll take that. I'll take that. I don't need that. Normally end up in a quite good lobby where you don't get loads of idiots shooting you. Is that locked? Yeah. I'm not going to do that mission. I'm just going to get us to the extraction point and get out of here. Now, seeing as someone's already been in there, it'd be a waste of time. Let's have a look at that. Take that. I don't want that. Some houses down here. Where are the houses? Map. Oh, they're right over there. I'm miles out of the way. See, it's not perfect high quality, is it? But it's like, it's totally playable. I'm going to run out of stamina. Not a smart move. The problem with this level is if you get caught out in the open, you're screwed. Like with one of those guys. And there's another one over there. And I don't have the best weapon in the world. I've got a Ferrero or whatever it's called. There's a guy's not shooting me there. Ooh. It's in there. Anything? I've never seen a bucket there before. Oh, I'll take the seeds, the fruit, prickly pear. There's obviously some kind of what's that? Power cable. What's that? There, chemicals. There's explosions going on. Obviously with the HDR it's a little bit problematic because everything's super bright and it's not super bright. A lot of explosions out here. What's going on? Have I... Someone took down the leaper. Nice, nicely done. So you can see my exit's 287 meters away over there. Hopefully no one will shoot me. And let's just try and extract. I haven't got much, but you know, it's just a test run, isn't it? Is there anything in here? There's a crate there. So you see that no one's shooting at me, he says. So I'm just going to grab that, and make my way back to the extraction point. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of maps on here. Montes is one of them, which is like a kill zone. You just wouldn't want to go in there. So everybody's trying. There's always something. And the other thing about this game is if you've got a good weapon, someone tries to open that. Someone tries to take it off you. They hear it as well. So silencing your guns is a pretty good idea. Okay, nothing there. What was that? What was that? Oh, There's a RAID cache. That could be interesting. Oh, we got bandage, take that. Grenade. Take that gun. And the light ammo. That's not bad. And there we are. There's our exit, and I think that person's called the lift. And we're out of here. Unless that guy tries to shoot me in here. Pretty good. Pretty good. There we go. Returning to Speranza. So there you go. So that's Intel Arc on Arc Raiders on Arc Blueberry background. 80 frames per second. I'm on medium. I've not pushed the settings. There was a little bit of stutter there, but not much. I think that's to do with the game, to tell you the truth, because we're networking. There we go. Let's just continue. Continue. Unload backpack. Continue. Skip. Continue. And then let's just come out of this. Yeah, I mean, just spend a little bit of time on those settings. In here, we've got graphics. It's got unlimited frame rate. But you've got this, and I don't actually know if this actually works in here. I mean, FSR3 won't work. If it chooses FSR2, no, FSR2 and 3 can. It's FSR4 that doesn't work. So potentially hitting that to FSR3 and balanced, that's given me a big upscale. When it was on XS, that was on 59% quality. Anyway, and everything else is on medium. Okay, let's come out of there. Exit, quick game. And come out of it is Super Shift R, shuts it down. Video format not supported. Here we are. And then to me. So there you go. Sorry about the interruption there with the phone call. That is the Intel Arc version of my Steam Deck games launcher. The link will be in the description. Download it. Obviously do this at your own risk. I mean, like the Mesa Git thing is epic. Experiment it maybe with, because you can run the script again. If you just want to play on normal Mesa that's installed on the system anyway, do that. If your games work, rejoice. If they don't, then you can download the Mesa Git thing, do the compile, which is 20 minutes, let it run through, and then you do. But remember, that's on the system now. But there you go. It's quite good. I mean, I really do hope Intel carry on developing these cards. I mean, that thing's like 200 quid, and that's a really, really good 220, good price for a card. And I'm playing 80 frames per second on, I mean, the settings are a bit lower than my NVIDIA. Perfectly playable, and you can do all sorts. To me, they're the best value cards on the planet. There are other things you can do. They've got OpenCL. Doing AI is a bit tricky, but it's doable. It's got its own sort of setup. But yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, if you need something, quite a powerful card that will be developed in Linux because it's been opened up going down the line. And Linus Torvalds got one, and he created Linux, so there's a clue. Then they're probably good cards to get. Anyway, the script's in the link. Enjoy. It's not supported by me. I mean, that's off to one side now. That's done. And then I'm going to be doing the hybrid catchy thing shortly, and I will install the hybrid catchy onto this, then install the Intel one as a test as well to see what happens. Anyway, as ever, sorry, massively long ramble there. As ever, thanks for watching and enjoy the script.